New heated footage between NoCap and NBA YoungBoy is going viral after NoCap said he hopes one day to tell YoungBoy he forgives him. It didn't take long for YoungBoy to seemingly fire back, and now fans are convinced their feud is far from over. Let me break it down. There's a moment in every rap beef where it stops being speculation and starts being undeniable. For NoCap and NBA YoungBoy, that moment hit when footage of their exchange, raw, direct, and dripping with contempt, made its rounds on social media, and the internet didn't just react, it stopped. YoungBoy took to Instagram to express his frustration over a fellow artist whom he no longer trusted. But here's what made it land so differently from the usual rap noise. He didn't include any names in his initial post. He just suggested that the person was signed to his Never Broke Again label. That choice to say everything without saying the name was deliberate. It put the entire NBA roster under a microscope at once, and the internet immediately went to wag. The post read, "I pay attention to all that slick-ass you be doing and saying," calling the unnamed artist a worker, not a brother, ending it simply with "pay me." NBA signee NoCap was immediately convinced the message was directed at him, and he didn't stay quiet. Several hours later, NoCap responded on his Instagram story. "I see it's my turn this week," he wrote. Then went further, "I never did you none bad. I screamed free you before and after every venue club. I carried this saint when you was gone. I stopped with nay who would have did whatever to see me win to stay loyal to your hating ass." That word carried is what people locked on to. NoCap was pointing at the period when YoungBoy was locked up, when the label still needed to exist, when someone had to hold it down on stage night after night. His claim wasn't just about money. It was about contribution, about sacrifice, about what it means to ride for someone who, in his eyes, never rode back. Then NoCap took the shot that really got everyone talking. He said the real reason they no longer collaborate is because YoungBoy was scared NoCap would become a bigger artist. He then accused YoungBoy of requesting payment for Flags to the Sky, a YoungBoy-assisted track off NoCap's 2022 debut album, Mr. Crawford. Think about what he's saying there. The man who signed him, the man whose name was on the label. That man allegedly went back to Atlantic Records and asked for money for a feature on his own signee's debut album. NoCap's words, "You never supported me. You posted my once. I've been signed to NBA for 3 years, but I'm raw, so I kept this going on my own." YoungBoy didn't sit on that. YB responded, giving more context to their issues. "Jay-Z can't out-rap me. Boy, this ain't about no music." He posted, then directly to NoCap, "You just a scary BH. I wanted revenge on the labels and I'm holding. Over hey. You ain't even got $300K for your tax bill, clown." It escalated from there when YoungBoy called NoCap out for playing industry chess. Their feud intensified even further. Now, Quando Rondo's name got dragged in. YoungBoy claimed that NoCap was scared and refused to defend Quando Rondo following the death of King Von. That's a serious charge in these streets. Loyalty in the face of conflict is everything in this world. And YB was saying Cap didn't show up when it counted. Cap saying he carried the saint while YB was gone. YB saying Cap couldn't even take a picture with Quando when things got hot. Two completely different versions of loyalty, both convinced they are right. The footage circulated. The screenshots spread. Fans took sides. And what had been a quiet industry-level tension between a label head and his signee was now a full public war for everyone to see. The world had a front-row seat to one of the most personal beefs in recent rap history. And it was just getting started. To understand how two people get to that point, publicly calling each other out, dragging up money, loyalty, and fear, you have to understand where they each came from, because this isn't a beef that started on Instagram. It started long before that in the streets of Alabama and Baton Rouge, where these men were shaped before music ever entered the picture. Kobe Vidal Crawford was born in Mobile, Alabama, and grew up in the Birdsville housing projects on the city's south side. He began showing interest in music at the age of 9, receiving inspiration from his mother's boyfriend at the time. He would continue to locally perform live shows alongside his brother. But as that relationship ended, Crawford took a break from music until his teenage years. That break matters because when NoCap came back to music, he came back with something to prove. Not to the industry, to himself. He began his career in earnest with the release of his first EP, Believe It, in May 2017. No major label, no cosign, just music uploaded, and a city that slowly started paying attention. Rising from the streets of mobile, NoCap began his career uploading tracks to YouTube in his teens, gaining initial traction with songs like Boss Move and Legend in 2018, the latter amassing over 1 million views and marking his breakthrough. 1 million views off pure talent and no machine behind him. That's what NoCap was when NBA YoungBoy found him. Now, YoungBoy's story runs on a completely different frequency. Golden has sold over 109 million digital copies in the United States, ranking him among the highest certified artists in the country. He has 34 albums that have charted on the Billboard 200, the most of any rapper, and has been nominated for 3 BET Hip Hop Awards and a Grammy Award. Those aren't just numbers, they're a statement. YoungBoy built an empire out of Baton Rouge by sheer volume of output and a fan loyalty that borders on religion. He has been described as one of the hardest working rappers in the music industry due to his high musical output, known for his consistency in releasing music at a rapid-fire pace. When you work at that speed, when you release music the way other people breathe, you build a standard and you expect everyone around you to match it or get out of the way. He founded the record label Never Broke Again in 2015, which has signed artists including NoCap and Quando Rondo. Never Broke Again LLC was founded in Baton Rouge, Louisiana by Kentrell Deshawn Golden, his older brother rapper OG33, and associate Kyle Montana Claiborne. It wasn't just a label, it was a crew, a family, a statement of intent from a man who refused to let the industry swallow him whole. In 2019, NoCap signed a record deal with YoungBoy Never Broke Again and Atlantic Records. At that point, it looked like everything was aligned. A rising talent from Alabama, a powerhouse label out of Louisiana, and one of the biggest distribution deals in the game through Atlantic. On paper, NoCap had every resource a hungry artist could need. That same year, he released Get Up Angels, a record that has totaled more than 80 million views on YouTube and was certified platinum by the RIAA. His first real platform moment. And he converted it. The deal was paying off. Then NoCap hit a wall, but not of his own making entirely. In December 2020, NoCap said on Instagram that he would be turning himself into authorities in connection to a shooting where he reportedly fired shots at someone his sister had an altercation with. He was charged with shooting into an occupied dwelling and reckless endangerment. He was released from prison on July 21, 2021. His own time away from the game, his own legal trouble, his own period of silence, all while still technically signed to Never Broke Again and still tied to a label head who at that point was also entangled in his own legal battles. In September 2020, YoungBoy was arrested on federal firearms charges in Baton Rouge. This restriction severely limited his ability to tour or engage in traditional promotional activities, forcing Never Broke Again to rely more heavily on digital streaming and remote production to sustain releases. So, for a stretch, both men were gone, both building time on the inside, both returning to a game that doesn't wait for anyone. But when they came back as 2 very different versions of themselves. And the cracks in what it felt like family started to show. Here's the thing about beefs that explode publicly. They almost never start the day people find out. They ferment. They sit in the corners of conversations that never happened, in the looks exchanged at label meetings, in the DMs that went unanswered, in the credit that was never given. By the time NoCap and YoungBoy were going back and forth on Instagram for the world to see, there were years of pressure that had been building beneath the surface. NoCap signed with YoungBoy's label, an imprint of Atlantic Records, in 2019. His debut studio album, Mr. Crawford, peaked at number 8 on the Billboard 200 and saw widespread critical praise. Number 8 on the Billboard 200 for a first album. That's not a good look. That's a statement. NoCap had arrived at the highest level of the charts and done it while representing Never Broke Again. He was no longer a prospect. He was a product, a proven, certified one. Mr. Crawford also saw widespread critical praise. And yet, according to NoCap, that success didn't change his relationship with YoungBoy. The support never came. The collaborative push never materialized. One post, 3 years signed to the label. One post. The beef between NoCap and NBA YoungBoy reportedly stemmed from personal and professional differences, though neither artist has ever fully detailed the root of their issues. That vagueness is intentional. Both men are careful enough not to lay every card on the table publicly. But the clues were always there for anyone paying close enough attention. Fans had noticed subtle jabs in lyrics and social media posts, fueling rumors of tension. Then there was the Quando Rondo dimension. And this one cuts deep because it's not about music or money at all. It's about street loyalty. YoungBoy claimed that NoCap was scared and refused to defend Quando Rondo following the death of King Von. King Von's death in November 2020 sent shockwaves through the rap world. Quando Rondo was there when it happened. YoungBoy was his label head. And in that moment, that raw, dangerous, politically charged moment, YoungBoy apparently watched to see who would stand up and who would sit down. In his version of events, NoCap sat down. Now, understand what that means in this world. It's not a mild critique. It's not a personality complaint. Saying a man was scared when things got real is one of the most damning things you can say about someone in this culture. NoCap pushed back on that hard. But the accusation was already out there, and it colored everything else YoungBoy said about him. Meanwhile, NoCap had also been quietly building a friendship with Lil Durk, who sits firmly in YoungBoy's enemy camp. YoungBoy would eventually send what many described as a dangerous message to NoCap, specifically for supporting Lil Durk. So, now it wasn't just about money. It wasn't just about Faye. NoCap's associations, who he stood next to, who he made music with, who he was seen riding with, were all being watched and catalogued by a man who runs his inner circle like a general runs a battalion. The NoCap and Lil Durk connection goes back further than most realize. A Ghetto Angels remix featuring Lil Durk and Jagged Edge was released on September 30th, 2019, right in the middle of his time at Never Broke Again. That's not a throwaway feature. That's NoCap reaching across a line that YoungBoy very clearly drew in the sand. Add to that the fact that YoungBoy was navigating his own war with Atlantic Records during being NoCap's most consistent creative partner, a man from the same Alabama streets who understood the sound NoCap was building. Rob 49 was a rising New Orleans voice with his own lane. NoCap was signaling who his real circle was, and it wasn't Never Broke Again. The Main Bird served as his final release under the prior label affiliation and transitioned him toward greater artistic autonomy. That phrase, artistic autonomy, might sound industry-level polished, but what it means in practice is stark. It means NoCap was done asking for cosigns, done waiting for a feature that had to be negotiated through Atlantic Records, done carrying a label name that in his eyes hadn't carried him back. The year that followed was quiet for NoCap in terms of projects, but not in terms of movement. Despite not releasing a full project and only 4 singles in 2023, he appeared as a feature on longtime collaborator Rilo Rodriguez's Thank For You, which served as the lead single to Rilo's sophomore album, Bean One. That appearance became NoCap's first Billboard Hot 100 entry, debuting at number 9, his first Hot 100 record, and it came after he left Never Broke Again. Meanwhile, YoungBoy kept moving at his usual pace because that's what YoungBoy does. His 4th album of 2025, Slime Cry, was scheduled for release on November 28, 2025. 4 albums in a single year. The man doesn't stop, and he doesn't look back. But the Never Broke Again operation took its own hits during this period. YoungBoy's arrest on federal firearms charges and subsequent house arrests severely limited his ability to tour or engage in traditional promotional activities, forcing the label to rely more heavily on digital streaming and remote production to sustain releases. The empire was still generating, but it was generating differently, and without NoCap on the roster, it had one less credible touring act to lean on. On the NoCap side, the freedom started to show in his music. While NoCap's career faced challenges after his departure from Never Broke Again, he continued to produce music and maintain a presence on the Billboard charts. His album Before I Disappear again debuted on the Billboard 200 in August 2024. He collaborated with artists such as Lil Durk, Trip Pie Red, and Playboy Carti across various singles and albums. The name drop there isn't accidental. Lil Durk, the same name that had raised YoungBoy's temperature years earlier. NoCap wasn't just surviving post Never Broke Again. He was actively building with people on the opposite side of the fence, and nobody was stopping him. YoungBoy's own March 2025 release from federal prison, after serving 23 months on gun charges, marked his return to the spotlight. A man who had been physically removed from the game, now back with a fan base that had only grown in his absence, and an appetite to match. His return was enormous. His energy was focused, and NoCap, now operating completely independently, had spent those same 23 months putting down his own foundation without anyone's name above his. The fallout from their beef, when you trace the trajectory of both careers, reads like two men who each got exactly what they were building toward. YoungBoy, the label head who runs his machine without apology. NoCap, the artist who finally got out from under a banner he felt was weighing him down. The question of who was right, who actually got the better end of the deal, was never going to be settled in Instagram posts. If you thought the story ended with NoCap walking out of Never Broke Again and building independently, you weren't paying close enough attention, because in rap, especially in this corner of it, things circle back. Old alliances get tested again, and sometimes two people who once ate each other out on Instagram end up back in the same room. In 2025, NoCap's affiliation with YoungBoy resurfaced, marked by a high-profile reunion on the Ma Tour in October. Joint appearances in Houston and shared tour dates through November alongside features on label compilations. Read that again. The Ma Tour, October 2025, joint appearances in Houston. NoCap and YoungBoy, two men who spent a significant portion of 2022 dragging each other publicly on stage in the same cities under the same promotional umbrella. The internet didn't know how to process it, and even before the tour, NoCap had dropped a public signal that something had shifted. On June 15, 2025, NoCap took to X to express his newfound sense of peace, stating that he had forgiven anyone who had done things he disagreed with, specifically naming NBA YoungBoy and Lil Baby. "I'm at peace with myself and the world," he wrote, emphasizing his desire to let go of grudges and move forward. That post hit the internet with the same intensity as the original beef. Alabama rapper NoCap publicly declared that he was moving on from past conflicts with fellow artists NBA YoungBoy and Lil Baby. The announcement, shared via X, marked a significant moment in the hip-hop community, signaling a potential end to tensions that had simmered between the artists. And Lil Baby being named alongside YoungBoy in that peace post. That's its own thread worth pulling. NoCap's relationship with Lil Baby had also been strained. Those specifics remain scarce, but in one statement, NoCap was clearing the board. Every outstanding grievance, every unresolved tension, he was publicly choosing to set it all down. While neither NBA YoungBoy nor Lil Baby had publicly responded to NoCap's statement, the hip-hop community was watching closely. In an industry often marked by rivalries, NoCap's gesture had the potential to set a precedent for reconciliation. Fans were left wondering whether this olive branch would lead to new music or simply a quieter resolution. The answer, at least partially, came in the form of that tour. Because booking two artists on the same tour run in the same cities, night after night, that's not a coincidence. That's a business decision that both sides had to agree to. YoungBoy would have had to extend that offer or accept it. NoCap would have had to show up. And by all accounts, both men did. Now, think about what this reunion says about how this culture actually works. The beef was real. The grievances, money, loyalty, fear, Quando Rondo, Lil Durk, Atlantic Records, feature fees, all of that was real. NoCap didn't fabricate the 3 years of silence. YoungBoy didn't make up his frustration with who he felt was playing industry chess. These were men who genuinely fell out over things that mattered to them. But rap is also a business, and two artists with loyal fan bases who share a regional DNA, Southern Street, melodic raw, makes sense together. Commercially, the question of who was right in 2022 becomes less urgent when the math of a joint tour makes sense in 2025. YoungBoy's return from federal prison in March 2025, after 23 months on gun charges, had him navigating the spotlight in his post-incarceration life, balancing immense fan admiration with his personal need for boundaries. The man who came back wasn't the same man who was posting fire emojis on Instagram at his scenes. He'd had time to sit with things, time to evaluate what mattered and what didn't. And NoCap in 2025. NoCap continued to make waves, headlining performances at notable venues, including 2 nights at the Tabernacle in Atlanta, showcasing his raw melodic sound and celebrating his growth as an artist. His own headline shows, his own name above the door. Not NBA's NoCap, just NoCap. The footage went viral because people love conflict. But the real story, the one that matters beyond the screenshots and the deleted posts, is this still building. And in this game, that counts for more.